If I die tomorrow, it's a pretty heavy question. It's a question that if you actually stop and think about it, hits you right in the gut. Because for so many of us, for some reason, we believe our mortality isn't really there. We always feel that we've got tomorrow, we've got time, but actually we really don't if we're honest with each other. If you started living your life with the mindset of if I die tomorrow, how do you think that would change your life or the lives of the people around you? Whether it's just passing strangers with a smile and a nod, your acquaintances, your friends, your family. And for me, that's a tough one because my friends are my family and my family are my friends. There is no difference for me. So I'm going to get the boring stuff out of the way. This is for entertainment purposes only. I'm not a psychologist. Talked to a few, but I'm not one. My name is Nicole. I have a lot of life experience, and those experiences have pushed me to be beautifully human and to live my life constantly asking the question, if I die tomorrow? I understand loss. I've experienced pain, tragedy. I've seen addiction. I've lived through abuse, healing, forgiveness. Now that I have all of that out of the way, welcome everyone to If I Die Tomorrow. It's the podcast where we're going to explore life's biggest questions, deepest thoughts, and those random musings that come to us when we're alone with our thoughts. We're going to dive into conversations that make us question and give us pause. Because you know what? None of us are getting out of here alive. And it's not morbid. It's just the reality of it. So why not have a few laughs? Make yourself think. Maybe change the way you live your life a little. And try and be a better human using that question to gauge your life. Now, as you see, I'm not sitting in a dark room and I'm not screaming up to the heavens saying, seize the day. But let me assure you that even though we're going to talk about some heavy things, we're also going to talk about some lighter things. You know, like how to apply this to everyday life. You know, work's not going good. You woke up late. How do we make it so that our lives aren't just entwined with all of the bullshit? I'm not here to deliver a sermon and, the live like you're dying. And I'm not here to paint life like it's a Hallmark movie. I'm here to ask questions, talk through things. And some of the questions are things people don't really want to say out loud, but I will. And we'll answer some of these questions with humor and wit, some existential dread. Not really. But we will have serious conversations as well. Because what's life without pondering, the great beyond with a healthy dose of irreverence? Now look, I'm not suggesting you quit your job today, sell all your belongings, and live off the grid in a tiny home in the woods. Though, let's be honest, that's always tempting. But I do want to challenge you. Yes, you. To think about what really matters. We're going to ask the kind of questions that might leave you looking up at the stars at 3 a.m., wondering what the heck you're doing with your life. And you know what? It's okay, because you're beautifully human. Sometimes we all need a little nudge. to think about the things we usually shove to the back of our minds, right? Because we're busy. We have jobs and some of us have kids. Some of our kids are not human kids, they're pets, but they are our kids. We have errands to run and people to help and families to look after, and we're busy. So why not carve maybe 15 minutes out to think about other things? We're not going to sit in the space of deep melancholy. We're going to laugh, question, and maybe even figure out what we would do if, tomorrow was the last day. So here's how this goes. Each week we'll tackle a topic. Could be about legacy, could be about love, could be about all the weird, wild things that make life so unpredictable. Could be about emotions, anxiety, anger, love, which I've already said once, and even God or spirituality. But just living a better life, being absolutely, positively, beautifully human. And each conversation will take you one step closer to being okay with not knowing everything. After all, who wants to be stuck with all the answers? Because you know what happens to those people, right? Those people are the ones that get all the questions asked all the time, and they never get a break. So those of you in the back who just went, I want all the answers all the time, you're in for a good time. So, just to give you a little thought, right now, stop for just a minute and ask yourself, what would I do if I knew today was my last day on earth? Now really think about it and be honest. Some people might actually be really selfish and live their life like, well, it's my last day, so I don't care what anybody thinks. I don't care what anybody says. I'm going to do exactly what I want to do. Some people, their first thought is, I have to get my affairs in order, which we'll tackle that as well. Or, how do I say goodbye to all these people that I love and who love me? Maybe you wouldn't do any of that. Maybe you'd try something that you were scared to do. Because fear is a liar. Which is why I'm doing this. Because this scares the absolute hell out of me. Putting myself out there, speaking in a manner like this, terrifies me. So please, these things will get better. And I'll learn how to make them seamless, or appear to be seamless, at least. And cut me a little grace. I'll get better, I promise. So, if you thought about it just for a second, like I asked, what would you do? Tell me in the comments. Let me know. I'd love to hear it. You might actually just be happy if you were just at home. Whether you just binged a series on Netflix and you were okay with that. Or, you went around telling everybody, I love you. Which is another topic we're gonna talk about as well, which is making it normal to tell people, I love you. Please remember that I love you. Without everybody automatically, because what's the first thing that you hear? If you talk to somebody that you haven't talked to in a while, and they called you up or texted you and said, hey, how you doing? And you had a nice conversation with them. And then at the end, you said, always remember I love you. My first thought is always, oh my God, what's wrong? What is wrong? What do you need? How can I help? Instead of it just being the true message that it is, which is, please remember, I love you. You're important to me. You matter to me. And if I'm not here tomorrow, you know that. I promise that wherever this conversation takes you, you should at least have one new thought, a new laugh, or a new realization. And that's worth it, right? I'm not asking for big chunks of your time. Just, maybe 10, 15 minutes once a week. And we'll have a conversation. So I will, if it's wanted, I have no problem giving you my backstory. But let me know in the comments if you want to hear how I got to this point in my life to live with that question in the forefront of my brain. And I'll answer. But I think right now the biggest thing is making sure that it's okay. Whatever is going on in your life, it's okay. Because if you die tomorrow, what happened in your life today, how much of that would really matter? So I think we forget how precious time is. And I don't want you to forget that anymore. I want you to remember you don't have an infinite number of days. You don't have an infinite number of chances. Because we do get caught up in our work, our daily routines, and sometimes we just don't take time to really express how much this life means to us. And it's scary. I get it. So maybe you can think of this as some time in a bottle to make you really think. Make you take care of something you've been putting off. Believe me, I've been putting this off for a couple of years now. Just because I'm scared. Life's too short to leave things unsaid. We get so wrapped up in the rush of life, we forget to make time for the people who really matter. So I think that's one of the things that I would do if I knew today was my last day. I really try to show kindness to people, even if I don't know them, because it doesn't cost a damn thing to be kind. So if you got the dreaded phone call, which, when I was first putting this together, my first thought was, I'm going to say, okay, the phone rings. You answer it. And on the other end of the line, it says, you have 24 hours. And then I thought, that's pretty much out of a horror movie. So let's not do that. I kind of want you to come back. I'd love to have more conversations. So take the time, think about, and don't judge yourself and don't try to talk yourself out of it. What is the first thought you have when you ask yourself, if I die tomorrow? Leave it in the comments. I'd love to read them and expand on them a bit. So now you know what this podcast is about, or YouTube channel, because I'm putting it on both. And I hope I've got your wheels turning. I hope you come back next week where we continue exploring this topic and so many others. And remember, if you're listening to this, you're already living. Let's make it count. So, leave a comment if you'd like. Subscribe. Like it. And be safe. Be humble. Be grateful. And be kind. And I will see you next week.